"What are you willing to give me if I hand him over to you?" They counted out to him 30 silver coins. And Judas watched for an opportunity to hand him over. And on the first day of the Feast of the Unleavened Bread, the disciples came to Jesus and asked, "Where do you want us to make preparations for you to eat the Passover?" "Go into the city to a certain man. Tell him the teacher says, 'My appointed time is near. I am going to celebrate the Passover with my disciples at your house.'" So they did as Jesus directed and prepared the Passover. And when the time came, Jesus was reclining at the table with the 12. And while they were eating, he said, "I tell you this day, one of you will betray me." And they began to say to him and to one another after that, "Surely not I, Lord. The one who has dipped his hand into the bowl with me will betray me. The Son of Man will go just as it is written about him. But woe to that man who betrays the Son of Man. It would be better for him if he had not been born." And Judas said, "Surely not I, Rabbi." And Jesus answered, "It is." And Jesus told him, "This very night you will all fall away on account of me. For it is written, I will strike the shepherd and the sheep of the flock will be scattered. And after I have risen, I will go ahead of you into Galilee." And Peter said, "Oh, even if everyone else falls away, I never will. Verily I say to you, this very night before the rooster crows, you will disown me 3 times. And Peter said, "If I have to die with you, I will never disown you." And all the other disciples agreed. And Jesus went with his disciples to Gethsemane. "Sit while I go and pray." The word from the Lord in the house of the Lord. There are sudden joys in our churches. There are sometimes things that we didn't have any idea we were going to have and some didn't expect. When I found out that Chelsea was going to sing, I thought it was fantastic. And I thought it was fantastic. That she was, "Any of you want to try?" I had a message that I had to change this week because I was rapidly reminded of something different than what I wanted to talk about based on what I was thinking about last week. This gospel and the story of the triumphant entry into Jerusalem is old hat to us. We do it every year. We do it. Palm Sunday is the triumphant entry, and Easter Sunday is the resurrection. And so Easter is so predictable. But every once in a while, and you just had it, every once in a while there's a little surprise in here. There's a little bundle of joy, a little spurt that says, "I'm here. Remember, I'm here. I'm never gone." And I met the cross this week in an unusual way. Last Sunday afternoon, I baptized 6-week-old twin boys. And I wish you'd been here because I got to carry them all around and show them off, and I had a great time. And I had to rearrange things. And then I set up for the concert and for the kids program by moving everything back. And if you notice, in our setup, the baptismal font is directly under the cross. The main reason for that is that I see a tremendously important connection between the baptismal font and the cross of Christ. And I want everyone every Sunday to see that connection. There's another reason that the baptismal font is there. Because if it's not, you can run into the cross. I managed to do that twice. Most churches have the cross hooked on a wall somewhere, and it's out of range. And this one's right out where you can meet it on a regular basis. And that's what we forget to do. That's the thing that we don't let ourselves do very often. We don't let ourselves meet the cross again and again. Especially after you do it once, you ought to quit. You realize how high it is. It's this high, right? But it reminded me that that's a much more important message than all this other stuff I had, is that the cross is always there. The cross is there for us to focus on. The cross is there for us to try to understand. Why? Why would Christ let himself be killed upon the cross? For the pathetic people who were around him, for the pathetic people who live in this day and age, we're that important to him? He knew what his fate was. He knew that he was to die for us. He knew that, and he did it because we needed him to do it. Oh, he could have raised an army. He could have made a miracle. And instead, he's made millions of miracles every day since then. For every life that is committed to him, every life that has met the cross, somewhere, somehow, is a miracle in itself. That he could share that love through those times. I'm going to invite you to Thursday evenings, Thursday service is going to be really, really different. We're going to have a very light meal at 6 o'clock. And I invite you to come. Don't plan on that being all of your sustenance for the evening. It ain't going to be that much. But we will take a look at Christ at the table in a different way than we've ever done before. So I invite you to come on Thursday evening at 6 o'clock for that service. Friday evening we'll do the regular Friday evening service with communion at the rail and so forth. But I want Thursday night to be pretty special. So if you can come and join us, we will be meeting in the fellowship hall. So come on that night. I'm hoping that you will meet the cross as dramatically and as graphically as I did when I backed into it and then turned around and ran into it. I'm a slow learner. You may have noticed that. But meeting the cross isn't a matter of bumping into wood. It's a matter of bringing your heart to a place where Christ can touch it. Bringing your heart to a place where the sacrifice that he made for us becomes real in our own beings. It's a matter of understanding that he went to the cross because he needed to for us. For without him doing that, we are lost. Without him doing that, we have no future. Without him doing that, we would be a lawless bunch. Jesus was not a Christian. He was a Jew. Christians didn't come about until probably 300 years after Christ died. Before that, the people who believed in him were called the people of the way. But they didn't become Christians until people called them Christians. Just like John Wesley and his group when he was in college, who gathered methodically day after day for prayer and ministry to the poor, were called Methodists. John Wesley wasn't a Methodist. John Wesley was an Anglican priest. But he started the Methodist movement. And we as a church have embraced that social ministry that is so critical now. We had a great evening last night. We were entertained. We were lifted up. And yet how many people, because of what we did last night as a group, will be lifted up with a meal that they didn't know they had coming? With being able to provide for the family instead of scrambling to try to get by. That's what meeting the cross is all about. I think I've told you all why our cross is proportioned as it is. You remember the story? This cross is 7 feet 11 inches tall. That has a deep theological meaning. My cousin, who made the rest of the furniture, made the cross for me and shipped it UPS. The longest box UPS will take is 8 feet. We have a 7 foot 11 inch cross because it fit in the UPS truck. Theology comes to us in weird situations, unusual situations, and for oftentimes not very theological reasons. But God's hand is in all of it. God's hand provided us with the original cross. Oh, he must have suffered as his son died on that cross. How can you forsake me, Father? You've done everything you wanted me to do. And yet I died on the cross just for us. But the cross is where we meet him. The cross is where the sign of victory, because he's no longer there. The cross is where he raised me from the dead, that I might live forever. The cross is where we meet him. And hopefully we meet each other at the cross. Don't back into it, don't run into it, but stand before it in awe, knowing that it's clean, it's empty, because our lives are full. Yeah, this was a better message than I had for you before. The cross, where we meet Christ. We're going to close this morning with, oh golly, Hymn of Promise again. 707, and would you stand with me?